Well, good morning, all. It's 9 o'clock. Why don't we get started? We got a pretty full agenda here. My name's Ken, WONN. Um, we get about 30 members in here, so I don't think I want to go through introductions. It ends up chewing up a lot of time. Maybe at some point we find ourselves on schedule. So let me just say a few words, and then we can get started on the other agenda items. So hope you all saw that great newsletter that came out the other day on the Reflector. All right. Super. Okay. So resetting here. Just a great newsletter by Mike. Thank you again. Just one comment. I'm usually the keeper of the silent key list and apparently got one wrong, which is very embarrassing. I'm usually very careful about it. So W1RR is alive and well, and we owe him some apologies, which we will post next month. But other than that, I hope you saw, got the gist of the of the newsletter. It's kind of I used the February as a year in review. Um, so talking to membership, we did grow quite a bit this year, which is good. 17 life members and 245 regular members. We did onboard 20 new people. That means we were able to shake out of the slumber about another 15 that had lapsed more than 1 year behind. Really trying to emphasize the area managers and their role in the club, trying to rejuvenate that. We did onboard a bunch of new area managers, and we did roll out a program to them that says we will reimburse reasonable documented expenses up to $100 for meetings. Two have taken advantage of that at this point. Interestingly, probably just looking at the people who are logged in here, you guys are mostly all up to date, but we are looking to retain those folks that timed out in 2025. Get you to renew, and we'll be reaching back to prior years members. We at this time last year, our treasury, our budget, or our accounts actually were around $2,500, and Bob and I were in kind of a panic. That kind of Bob will talk more about this later, but that kind of drove the dues increase over the past year. And just all that chatter about dues and all that really did result in an influx of payments. So that at year end we're sitting at $6,375. So good $4,000 over where we were at this time last year. We probably should have put some limits on the renew at the lower rate types of things. A lot of you took major advantage of that, and we have people paid out 10 years in advance. Which then, looking at this year, suggests that we might have another problem unless we can considerably grow the membership. But we are projecting to deficit spend this year. Now, when I say this year, I mean FY26. So we did end FY25 with a income surplus. So that was the first time in the past 3 years we had than three years of deficit spending. So things are looking up there. But just like any good organization, we are reviewing a lot of our expenses and maybe making some changes. I can tell Tom, though, that we are not considering cutting any of the NEQP plaques. Okay, from a club competition perspective, we're going to have more detail on this later, but you can see that there were no wins in any of the majors, a lot of seconds, and we need to keep our eyes on PVRC. They are really turning out their membership to get on the air. So we've got some work to do there as a contest club. So I hope you're all considering how much time you're going to spend on the AWL DX. We didn't fund a scholarship this past year, and and we still don't have a fundraising program for that. We have maybe $150 on account with the league
Yep.
in the
I'm on the
scholarship.
Zoom call. I can't hear you.
All right, we got somebody speaking here. I've got to mute them. All right, it seems that they've gone away. Okay. What drives me crazy is the amount, the IT footprint that this club has. But in about the past half year, we haven't had any new databases that need attention pop up. So we got a good handle on, what we have in front of us. Like I said, Slack, like I said in my newsletter, the Slack channel is very much underutilized. And I don't know about you guys, but if I leave it running for more than 24 hours, it does something and it starts to chew up my processors and all my fans are running at full speed and all this type of crap. So I usually have to kill it. So I don't know. I think we need to explore other things there. We did post a bunch of videos. 10 videos were posted. You saw it in the newsletter, the most popular ones there. And we'll be posting videos after this meeting too. All right. Just just a heads up, when I look at my calendar, I see starting next weekend, four pretty major contests in a row. CQWPX RIDI, AWL DXCW, CQ160 sideband. Well, okay, for a lot of you, that's not a major, but it can be. And then finally, AWL DX sideband. So clear the decks with the way snow. You're going to be busy the next few weekends. If the snow and cold keeps going, that's kind of the ideal combination. So finally, as I mentioned, we did experience a lot of loss across the club this year. May they all rest in peace. And one correction there, as I mentioned already. So, okay, having said that, we got Brian out here. Let me advance slides. I'm just going to get my focus on the right screen. All right, so we've already reviewed the prior meetings report. So, Brian, you out there? You want to talk to this or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, it's a call to action. I need your help. I need you to go to the ARRL, go to the next, the ARRL website and just check under clubs if your call sign is listed under the Yankee Clipper Contest Club. You can just do a quick search. These are some older slides, but if you just in that first screen put your call sign in, it will actually list any of the clubs that your call sign's affiliated with. You click on that club, click on Yankee Clipper Contest Club, make sure that I have your information correct. It's very, very important. One other thing is that in the past we lost a pretty good sized log because a couple of members decided to use a school's club station call sign, and that club's call sign was not in our listed as a member of the YCCC. So check your call sign and any call sign that you may be operating under. We want to make sure that we maximize our points.
Okay.
I'll put an email out on the reflector with that link on that last slide.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Brian. How was your trip this week?
We didn't see any of your slides.
Oh, you didn't see any of the slides?
I saw.
Okay, what are you seeing now?
YCCC Treasurer's Report.
Yep.
Okay.
I saw the secretary's slides.
Okay. I don't know what's going on down in your neck of the woods there. Electrons haven't reached yet. All right. Shall we go forward? All right. Bob, you want to pick it up?
Yeah, that's fine. Good morning, everybody. Okay, if we could please go to the next slide, Ken. Excellent. All right. So a couple of things, a word about the past, and then I'll go through this, and then we'll talk about a statement that will be in the next newsletter. So we had an odd situation this year. Just the way the YCCC fiscal year falls, it starts July 1st. And we originally had July 1st as the cutoff for dues payments. So what happened is, with that as the cutoff, all of a sudden a lot of dues payments and prepayments for future years started to flood in literally the last day or two of June. So we had a big spike in dues payments that were made literally at the end of June, and then it continued July 1st, July 2nd, followed by a rapid drop off, kind of like the peak of a sine wave, if you will. So we had a chunk of it right at the end of last year, and a chunk of it right at the beginning of this year. And what that does is it kind of distorts the normal cash flows that the club typically has, which usually has in the past had a bump right around January 1st, the first week in January, and then tailing off. So it kind of shifted 6 months this year. So with all the income, or 90% of the income, coming in right around July 1st to start the year and no expenses yet, you could see we had put on board 3,461, which was great. Banks made a couple of errors. What was the spam call? Hang up. Okay. So a lot of money coming in at the beginning of the year, which is great. And then what happens is we have expenses that come throughout the year, but many of them are also clustered between May and August. And in past years, you might have noticed spikes in certain expenses and other expenses not there at all. That simply reflects the timing of when the invoices come in. I don't sit on them. I pay them right away, assuming they're accurate, just simply to be done with them. There's no reason to delay payment unless there's an issue with something. So for instance, some years we've had 2 insurance payments, other years we've had none. We of course have had continual insurance, as well as many of the other expenses that we fund each year. For instance, domain registration, hosting of the website. But again, it depends on what year it literally falls in. If it's before July 1st, it falls into the previous year. And if we're invoiced after July 1st, it falls into the current year. So really, when you look at the YCCC budgets for both income and expenses, you really need to consider like a running 2-year average to get a better sense of it. Now, that's from the perspective of viewing these numbers. But from my perspective as treasurer, I have to be thinking in those terms each year, and then pay things when they come due, budget for the current year as well as the past, regardless of when the income actually comes in. So for 2025, we had all the end of the year, June 30, 2025, we had a lot of expenses right at the end of the year, and I have to budget for that. But then I have to budget for the coming year, realizing that almost all the dues we were going to get were going to come in literally the first week or two, and then tail off after that. Now, as it turns out, we did have to postpone the timing of the dues increase. So from July 1st, it slid to September 1st. So there was another bump of prepayments late in August and early in September, which looks great for this year, the year that started July 1st, 2025. But a lot of these also reflected payments for future years, with the majority of the prepayments coming from members for 2025, 2026. So what that means is, in the year that starts July 1st, 2026, we are likely to have not as much dues as we would normally have paid to us, but the same amount of expenses or slightly higher expenses, because unfortunately most things go up each year in cost. Plaque fees, Zoom fees, and other things like that. They just continue to go up, although the insurance hasn't. So next year is going to be a little funky in terms of numbers too, but then it's going to start evening out as we have new dues payments for $25 a year instead of 15. So 2025 and 2026 are kind of aberrations, but the important thing is to take advantage of that bump, bank the cash, and then also at the same time diligently look at what expenses we could reduce not only this year but in future years, and then reap the benefit of that, because we want YCCC to get back on a stronger financial footing after years of deficits. That's a very important thing to do. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But anyway, so here's the big bump of dues that came in between July 1st and December 31st, basically the majority of which have already paid for the year. So we're not going to get much more in January through the end of June. $3,461, $3,425 of that were dues, $10 general donations, which is way too low. Dealing with the bank to get money back for fees they gratuitously took out, and $1 of interest. And then on the fees that we've actually paid so far, we have a monthly Zoom fee, which keeps going up, but provides good value for the club as a whole. And then a variety of other one-time events that take place through the year. So for instance, there's a Ham Expo, a variety of fees rolled up into that one thing, including coffee service, door prizes, other things like that, paying for a dinner for guest speakers, things that we normally do each year. Then we have the YCCC Pizza Bash, which is not in here because we'll get an invoice from Tim K3LR for our co-sponsorship of the pizza, and that usually will come in either April or May. But that's not on here because it hasn't been invoiced and paid yet. But we do have some YCCC merchandises for door prizes, awards to members, non-members. We had reimbursement for a barbecue at W1 Sugar Radio Golf, and we'll probably be seeing more reimbursements like that in the future, which I think is money very, very well spent. The idea being we want to support those people that have meetings during the year, especially in the summer, because there is nothing like face-to-face. So that's something that's going to become more of a priority for YCCC in the future, and definitely worth several $100s a year, whatever it takes to support us getting together and actually getting to know each other. Member awards, number of different types. There are awards for service, recognition of things that individuals have done for the club, whether they're officers or they're regular members, but doing special projects, as well as recognition for guest speakers and other things. Again, money well spent, really encourages ties with the club, people often involved in presentations, and so on. Non-member awards, again, same thing, usually gift certificates of some type, $25 or $50. Occasionally it's a door prize at a contesting related event or a local flea market event. As you can see, the numbers are very modest. We have our web hosting and domain registration, which is an annual fee, usually paid in 2 installments during the year. We have fees for the accounting software. That's actually a roll-up of several years in there. And after this year, I am no longer going to pay that. Quicken I found to be incredibly unreliable and very buggy, which is very frustrating, wasting untold hours of my time and the time of the directors as we discuss the budget. And also the fact that, frankly, it's a lot of money. Went from $49 to $79. Who knows what they're going to charge in future years. I find actually we're doing better off without it. And I maintain spreadsheets by the club of all the money going in and going out, which are then checked by Ken and others. We, unlike many clubs, I try to be very, very transparent in what comes into YCCC and goes out of YCCC, not just so that everybody can see where the money comes in and where it goes to, and then those become points of discussion, but also because invariably mistakes are made, and the more eyes that actually look at the information and can follow the flow of the money into and out of the club, the better we can be sure of being 100% accurate, or at least as close to that as possible. So unlike the club that I came from during my YCCC hiatus, where everything was very, very secretive and no one actually ever knew, I like transparency. I think it's good for the club. I think it's good for the membership. And more importantly, people can get a sense of what we do with the money when it comes in and how much time we spend on the budget, figuring out those things we should be actively supporting and at what level, and those things that either haven't worked for us or they're just not a good use of the scarce club funds that we have. So it's right there. And if people have questions about the budget or things related to the Treasury itself, I'm always happy to answer them by email. We have the ARRL Inc. liability insurance, which is $200 per year. It's remained at that level for several years. From company Risk Strategies Inc., which provides a blanket program through the ARRL Inc., which is a good thing, basically protecting the club against liability, accidents, things of that nature. We have the $15 annual fee to the state of Massachusetts for YCCC Inc. domiciled in Massachusetts. And then we have PayPal fees of $73, which is basically a rake off PayPal takes for making it easier for membership to pay dues and other fees directly through PayPal. I still encourage checks for those people that wish to send them, simply because there are no fees and there's a paper record, even though it involves more time on my part. But for those people that prefer to do it electronically, PayPal is fine, although there probably is a way to use friends and family to reduce those fees, or in the case of some kind members, some people have actually sent in a couple of dollars in donations to help defray the costs of that, which is very much appreciated. Any questions on the budget so far? Okay, I'll take that as a no. But again, you're welcome to send an email to me, if you have any questions. WNAST, dollar donation to offset. Yes, thank you, Larry. So we're going to talk a little bit about donations now. I'm going to skip a lot of the details, which are covered in my treasurer's report, which you'll see in next month's newsletter. But the one thing that has bothered me very much since I became treasurer, I frankly have been shocked at the lack of donations from membership to the club each year. And I'll mention a couple of reasons why. Most charitable organizations, YCCC is one of them, a 501c3 organization from the IRS. Most charitable organizations rely on dues and fee payments to fund roughly 50% of their annual budget. This seems to be true regardless of the industry, regardless of the type of work that they actually do. I can't tell you in general what the right number is in a given year, but it hovers around 50%. That's what many treasurers and professional fundraisers generally say. You can see that in our $3,461 we took in, we got $10 in donations. And there are some years in YCCC there have been even less. Now, when I'm talking about donations, I'm not talking about contributions to the ARRL Foundation Fund. That's separate. I'm talking about donations to the budget for operating costs for YCCC and maybe special programs that might be taking place. Guys, this is just awful. We spend thousands, or in many cases, tens of thousands of dollars on equipment, towers, radios, amplifiers, you name it, trips to the Caribbean, the expeditions, and other things like that. No donations to the club at all. In many cases, Members here in the club have been in YCCC for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, literally since the beginning of the club 50 years ago. Now, come on, we could do a hell of a lot better than that. How much is $10 or $25 or $50 out of your personal budgets in the course of a year for something in a hobby that you found important enough and enjoyable enough in your life to support the club that helps make that possible? Please, we're going to be talking about this more in the future, hopefully at every meeting until this number starts to grow. Yes, YCCC leadership has been lax in discussing this before and putting forth a program how to make it easy. That's on us, and that's going to start to change. But we need your help also. Whether it's in addition to paying when you pay your dues to make a donation of some sort, or you're selling radio equipment, or you're moving, and there are extra dollars you could donate in even just a small part of it, it makes a difference. We have over 200 active members in the club, and if each active member gave an average of $10 a year in a donation, basically 3 cups of Starbucks coffee in the course of an entire year, that would make an enormous difference in our budget. We would no longer ever have to consider deficit funding. We would always be able to add programs with regularity, some programs that members have been asking for, pleading for many years. We'd be able to support things at a higher level. And most importantly, the club would be solvent going forward, and we would not have these crises from year to year. That really is very important. So this is a plea from me to you as your treasurer to help put the club on much more sound financial footing for literally pennies a day. And again, we'll talk about this more in the future, but to give you an idea what a constraint YCCC has been operating under, when I was treasurer in FRC, and it was a donation club only, there were no fixed fees or fixed dues, it was typical for 15 to 20 members to contribute additional dollars each year. One person, may rest in peace, Alex W2OX, who was the club president, every time he sold equipment, he donated the proceeds of that to the club. It was 1,000 here, 2,000 or 3,000 there. It made a huge difference. It changed the trajectory of FRC, literally. There were bequests to the club when longstanding members passed away. Some of them were very generous, some of them were very small, but the idea is they thought of the club, they wanted the club to go on, and they helped to fund its operations. There were scholarships and many other things. And that has only grown in time as it became part of the culture of the club to give back, whether it was through service or through financial contributions. NCDXF, PVRC, also the beneficiary of annual donations for members, as well as bequests and many other things. YCCC literally gets zero or almost zero. And that really is inexcusable for a club of our size and our standing. We really need to take some pride in the club and help to support it each year. So again, I am pleading with you to please change your thinking on this. We're doing everything we can in leadership to help shepherd the few dollars that we get to use it as efficiently, as effectively as possible, but it's just not enough. We need your help to make the club more viable financially. And again, I will be glad to talk to anybody via email to discuss the details more, to share your ideas if you have any on how we can generate more in the way of donations, or just also to work with you if some of you would like to make donations through an IRA, make them directly to the club. It's tax deductible, so therefore you would incur no income tax whatsoever to do so. And I can help you do that and set that up if any of you are interested in doing that. But even without that, an extra $10 a year, an extra $25 a year or more will make a huge difference to the club itself. And I ask you to please consider that going forward. Are there any questions? Any thoughts or comments from anyone?
Yeah, thank you, Bob. That was excellent. We are going to be rolling out the drums quite frequently on direct donations to the club. That last item Bob mentioned, they're commonly known as QCDs. If you're forced to take IRA distributions, anyways, sometimes that's a way to minimize the impact of them, but you have to work with your financial folks, and it has to be direct to the club. You can't cycle that money through your accounts. So thank you, Bob. Any other questions, comments? Awesome. All right. Next up, just a quick mention. Oh, I guess this is an official report, so I need a motion to accept this report.
So motion.
All right, I need a second.
Second.
Last chance for comments. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Oops. Hang on, change my focus here. All right, just a quick, a brief review of upcoming meetings. So the next one looks like April 4th would be the club elections and other agenda items yet to be determined. Summertime will be emphasizing area meetings, cookouts, get-togethers, whatever. Nothing really defined at this point. Note that Ham Expo is a live medium course, is early this year, August 15th. Larry's a principal in that W1AST. I'm being pressed to identify our programs already, but I can barely think a week out ahead. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. It is early. So the 15th would be Saturday. So the expo really runs Thursday night through Sunday now. The 15th would be the Saturday, no time slot yet to be determined. Hopefully it's like 12 or 1 in the afternoon. It is an opportunity to all get together. They do offer that meeting room free for us, so it's important to support the Ham Expo with your admission fees and like. So then just, the normal routine calendar would suggest possibly October 3rd and December 5th. Frequently we will get other Zoom sessions going just before some of the majors, just to get members thinking about getting on the air and stuff like that. So keep your eye out for that. It is important that you be part of the reflector to see all of those things. All right. Next I have member updates.
And I got a question.
Go ahead.
It's David, K1MT. Anything planned for Dayton?
Well, we will sponsor the Saturday night pizza party. So that's usually our contribution there. Otherwise, just obviously good turnout from the membership at Dayton. I think I counted in excess of 55 members when I was there last year. Of course, the big one being the contest dinner Saturday night, stuff like that, but nothing else specifically planned. Okay.
One more quick
Go
question.
ahead.
Any plans for a table for the contest dinner?
Certainly, if somebody wants to organize that, they're welcome to. If I've had some of us have had experiences doing that, and it is always exciting. So past couple of years, it's been you're on your own, but generally we group up where we can. Mark and I, KWNX and I picked an awesome table last year. So no, at this point, unless somebody wants to organize it, go ahead. It's seating tables of 10. It's usually pretty crowded in there. Okay. All right, is Chet out here by any chance? No? Okay, don't really have any other member updates. And then how about area managers? Anybody want to report in?
I can report in. This is John, KE1IH. I'm the area manager for the New York Capital District. And you probably saw, but we had a local area meeting recently. That was a social event. We met at our local watering hole, Ravenwood Pub in Clifton Park, New York. And we had a lot of non-members attend, unfortunately. And I keep working on them, but I guess there's some bad blood. But K2EP was present, WC2L Will, who was a member, W2RYZ, N1JP, a past member, and J1F, Brian was there, who is a member, Fred, K2TR, a member, and myself, KE1IH, and Saul, K2XA. As I said, it was a social meeting. We did discuss upcoming repairs to my 40-meter beam, which unfortunately, as most of you know, a 40 means that the driven element is at the end of the boom, and it's kind of hard to get to. So I've been looking at either renting a lift or building a temporary tower to get up there and change out some stuff. Fred, K2TR, will be in Florida for ARRL CW, so we won't get his score. And will most likely be at K2LEs for ARRL phone. Brian should be at K1 Triple Ts, and most everybody else will be working from their home station. No new members were inducted and no dues were collected. So that's about it.
Okay, John, thank you. Thank you. Excellent. I did, I'll speak for Alan here. You saw my trip report in the newsletter, just brief, some additional comments there. I mean, nice event, one-day event, organized pretty well on a college campus. So that was fun. The Ham Radio University. Apparently they've been running it for a long time, but never made my radar screen until Alan pointed it out. We did have a quote unquote area meeting, which didn't really meet mine or Alan's expectations. Just two people that weren't members of the club showed up. But we did give them a presentation on what the club is all about. Anybody else with area managers meeting?
This is Eric, KV1J.
Hey, Eric, what's up?
Okay, not an area, but just a real quick on the QSL Bureau. Everything is going strong. We have still a strong team of volunteers, very appreciative of that. Volume is still, low since COVID or so. And one of the problems is just the international shipping restrictions right now with the de minimis tariffs, but I think that's starting to get solved. And financially, everything is sound.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Let's see. Mike, are you still here or did you have to step away?
I am here.
Okay, great. Did I hear a comment?
Nope.
Okay. Mike, do you have your slides
Yep.
queued up?
Let me
All right, I'll stop my share on my end here.
hold on. Where'd they go? Oh, there we go.
All right, so next up is the competition update. This is the detailed wrap up of CQWW.
Yeah, now you've had the uplifting presentation. Now you're going to get the kind of sobering one. Okay, I think everybody's got it now.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, first off, my name is Mike Visick. I've been the scorekeeper since 2023. I've been contesting seriously since 2020, and I just got my Medicare card. I am sure I am not alone in this category. I am willing to wager that people in this Zoom call have been contesting for 65 years or so. Can I get a raise of hands of 65-year-old contesters or 65-year contest, whatever. Okay, so in my former life, I was a submarine analyst. and I'm used to working in metrics for that. I'd like anybody's suggestions about how I can do this better and present the material better and etc. Okay, so what I'm going to try to go through is that's kind of depressing. How we did for worldwide in 2025 and 2024 and 2025. What you're seeing now are the scores for CW and sideband and the overall on the bottom. Unfortunately, the CW scores for 2025 are not yet available and yet released. So I'm kind of going to ignore those because the numbers up there right now are grayed out are the numbers I took from the raw scores, and I don't really trust those type of numbers. So in 2025, we came in second in CW. FRC just plowed through everybody, and PVRC flooded the airwaves, but just did not. They just flooded the airwaves with people, but they didn't do much. I'll go through the sidebands in detail. How our performance went down from 2024 to 2025, and overall, I'm only going to look at the one for 2024. We came in second, but that's mainly in part because PVRC showed up with a lot of people, but they didn't bother to spend a lot of time on the air. Okay, so this is 2024 CW. What I've shown here is FRC, PVRC, and YCCC. Even though we came in second place, I just put us third because we're in third for most of the sideband presentation. FRC just showed up and they hit it hard with multis, but more importantly, assisted high power. They just dominated assisted high power. Like I said, PVRC flooded the airwaves, but they didn't generate a lot of points. And we generated a lot of points, but if you look at the purple bars for assisted high power, both us and PVRC were nowhere near where FRC is. They just put a lot of people out there. They spent a lot of time. They spent a lot of BIC, and they won. Now, the next two slides, I can compare how we did for sideband. This is total point generation by category. If you look at, let's say, the first set of two bars, FRC, you've got 2024 and 2025. Their scores went down a little bit. Then I've got PVRC, the green box around them, and just to separate us, the three different clubs, and then YCCC. FRC, they generated a lot of points again through multi and single assisted high. The blue circle, I call it the fat middle. It's the low assisted, the low unassisted, and the high unassisted. They got more disciplined going into 2025, and they kind of eliminated those. Those operators didn't perform as much, and their single assisted high numbers were still very high. Their multis went down a little bit. I don't have an understanding of what happened to PVRC in 2024, but they showed up in force in 2025 and they kicked our butt. And if you look at that fat middle again for both us and PVRC, we've got a lot of people doing, well, having a lot of fun on the radio, and radios are a lot of fun. And I like running unassisted, but that's not the way you're going to win these contests. We dropped from 80% assisted to about 70%, 75%, and that cost us.
All right, I'm good.
Question? Okay. If you look at button chair category for sideband, PVRC put in some huge numbers for single assisted high. We didn't. PVRC didn't. We were about 70% of the overall button chair for FRC. And we were, the red dashed line there is kind of the median. We're on par with PVRC. Okay, that's the numbers. That's how we did. Are there any questions on that? Okay. So who's doing the contesting for YCCC? Well, this is an interesting graph, and I got to give Ken all the credit here. He went through our roster and figured out our active lifetime members, our paid members, who's paid up on their dues, which is the total of the active lifetime and the paid members, and who's in arrears. In 2024, about 19% of the people that participated in the contest, or people available to participate in the contest, hadn't paid their dues. So the gold bar on the bottom, in 24, we had 309 people that were potential and available to generate scores. Listed in the ARL website, as was pointed out. They can get out there and generate points. It went down slightly for the contest in 2025. That's who we are right now. If you look at the 2024 contests, we had 138 unique calls for sideband and 175 unique calls for CW. Even if we only put in like 120 logs, there are a lot of multis. You factor those in, those are unique calls. If you take the unique calls overall between the two contests, figure out who participated in at least one of the contests, there was almost 200 people. That's about 79% of the total dues paying members. But it's only about 64% of the people who could generate points, including the guys who haven't paid their dues. It's interesting, I guess. YCCC is very much a CW club because our participation jumps up dramatically, going from CW, going from sideband to CW. Sideband this year or last year, it should say 2025. I apologize for that. We had 137 unique calls, and we had about 47% of our potential score people showing up to generate points. So basically, only half of the team is coming out to play. And we're not going to get winning scores when only half the team comes out to play. I would really love to see what the corresponding numbers for FRC are for this, but you can only work with what you got, and if the team's on the field is only half there, the other team's going to run around you. Hopefully we won't see that tomorrow. Takeaways, they're always the same. I seem to be a broken record on this. FRC puts a lot of people out in single assisted high power ops. They put a lot of people spend their time sitting in their chairs, and each log that was generated the most calls, most points per call, or per log, I should say. Looking at sideband, we declined over from 2024 to 2025. I don't know why. We're only fielding half our team. We need more score producers to generate points. And PVRC showed up for sideband. When I get the CW numbers from CQ, I will run the same assessment. We'll figure out who showed up, who didn't, and how we did there overall. Right now, we're projected to lose for 2025, come in third place. It's interesting. I read the articles for the sideband contests released by CQ that they put out, the write-ups they put out. And most of the people, when they do these contests, both sideband and sideband contests, they're running a single operator unassisted low power, which I thought was interesting because the way you make points winning these contests against FRC, you can't do that. So I guess it's that balance of fun versus victory. Speaking of victory, we can do better. From what I understand, we were the reigning guys. We were the Patriots. We can become the Patriots again if our team shows up. And with that, I say go Pats. And any questions? No questions? I'll take that. Either I did a bad job and or nobody here is a Patriots fan.
Do we have any explanation for why so little interest in assisted? Have we taken the time to poll, ask questions, really understand the rationale behind it?
I don't think so. I'm gonna try to hold off some. I would put that out to the group. Have we, okay. Man's showing off his sweatshirt, Mr. Wagner. Thank you.
So-
I'm actually a Packers fan, so I know depression well. That's what happens when you marry a cheesehead. I don't know. I don't know why people. We're all different. We're doing this as a hobby. Some people find running unassisted more interesting. I mean, that's what I was thinking for a while, but then I realized all the contacts I'm making running unassisted, it's probably people who are assisted that see me and come look for me. So you can't say I'm being a purist and running unassisted because the whole game is basically running assisted.
Does it have to do with the multipliers? You get a different multiplier if you're unassisted versus assisted?
No, you're put in a different category. Generating the multipliers is for assisted is actually easier because you can see who's out there. There's somebody over in British Columbia. I'm going to grab him now. But I'll defer to Bob on that.
All right, excellent, Mike.
Any other questions?
Mike, I just wanted to say that I think that was really great analysis, really getting into the percentages of the club participating in each categories. I think that tells a very important tale because clearly it's about category choice very much in determining scores. Ultimately, the same hours in operating assisted will generate a higher score than operating unassisted. Although you can't make a direct comparison because the nature of who does assisted versus not assisted tends to change by contest and by year also. I think within YCCC, with certain very notable exceptions, it seems to be generally the more casual contest operators go for assisted versus non-assisted. In other cases, it's limited hours, so they figure, let me generate the largest score that I can in the few hours that I have. And so I'll go into the assisted category. So there are, I think analysis shows a lot of worthwhile things to consider, although obviously not everything, and it varies by person. And some of it is just what you've gotten used to and value most. There are some operators who go unassisted that could generate still with whatever comparable station a higher score than others going assisted. So we have to be careful about any generalizations that we make. But I think what is important to realize is each person and each station should consider for each contest whether they're more interested in benefiting the club's score or they're choosing a category because of interest that they have in a particular contest, and that no one should be wedded to one or the other, but rather to generally increasing their operating hours anyway, because then regardless of what category you're operating, you're going to generate a higher score. So, the entire club could go unassisted versus assisted, but if they were willing to put 20% or 30% more time in the chair per contest, then YCCC can potentially win. So, it's a combination of things, but the trend is clear. YCCC is putting less button share time in every single contest than FRC is, and that alone explains most of the score differential.
That is the score differential. Like you said, if you sit in the chair and you run unassisted, but you're there generating points, slogging it out through the night, you'll generate a good score. No questions. But if you're just showing up here and then going to watch the Patriots game and then I'll eat some more. It's just, I mean, it's all the big numbers correspond to the scores.
Mike, I like things when they're broken into smaller digestible chunks. So if we double click on what you and Bob just said, which is more time spent on the air, do you have some sense or maybe pull from the numbers, how much longer do we want each and every member to spend on the air to beat any of our competitors? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 10 hours? What is that extra time?
I can back that out through rate, and I can come back to you with an answer. And people
Okay.
have asked that to me before, and I've thought about it for a while. And I think if you just take okay, we're generating this many points per hour or per whatever, per time unit, and how many more time units do I need to get over what FRC is doing?
I mean,
I can look at that.
Yeah. And maybe you can back out sort of the graveyard shift, because obviously we're not going to get a lot of mileage out of it when people are on the air at 3 o'clock in the morning. But
right.
The data's not that
Excluding-
granular.
That's a hard learned lesson. But just to address your comment, I mean, Jim K1IR did this analysis several years ago, and it was on the order of 3 or 4 hours per person more button chair time back when he analyzed it.
Yeah, Rudy, to Rudy's question and to Ken and Mike's points, it's not just the hours in the chair, it's also the choice of the specific hours. As an
Right.
example, I think
Absolutely.
most of us would agree that we basically hate 40 phone in the early evening. It's just bedlam. I don't even think adequately describes it. But an hour on 40 phone, getting all the European and Mideast multipliers you could get, even just from a very average station, will generate more points typically than an hour in the afternoon on 10 meters when it's open to South America. Now, that's not the same as an hour in the morning running Europe, when a lot of multipliers from Europe and Africa will call in. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not just the hours. A given station at whatever level you want, and a given operator, which hour you choose or which hours you choose has more of an impact on your score when you're only operating a few hours. So I think we need to better educate, and people also need to better commit to choosing the right hours out of a weekend to get that higher score bump just beyond sitting in the chair longer. So all things being equal, yeah, you sit in the chair longer, you'll generate more score, and that's good. It's good for the station, it's good for the club. But choosing the right hours to target for the few hours you're going to be on will generate even more score and make an even bigger difference. I don't know if FRC is really emphasizing that, but I don't think most clubs think in those terms and have operators that committed to, in a given weekend, blocking out an hour here, 2 hours there to really maximize their score. That's where we can make a very big difference very quickly for the casual operators, which I'll define arbitrarily as, operating 5 to 10 hours in a weekend. I mean, we can literally handpick those hours and say, you're going to generate probably twice the score operating these specific hours than if you just take 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon.
Okay. I hate to do this, but I have to cap this discussion. We are on a bit of a schedule, but thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bob.
I need to step away. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Take care. Okay. I notice our next guest is out here, and I want to recognize him, Jeff W2FU. If you check your logs, you'll probably see that he's in a lot of your logs for the especially the domestic contests, and especially 160. Worked him many, many times. Jeff, how you doing?
Can you hear me all right?
Yep, good. I noticed you were having some audio connecting problems there earlier, so it seems like that's resolved. If I could ask your forgiveness for just one detour, we have a pending new member that is time limited on his schedule, and I want to give him the opportunity to join the club. He's been waiting for a while. We'll take a moment or two, and then we'll kick you off. How's that sound?
Okay. I'll
Okay.
just holler when you want me.
Okay. All right. So